بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن اتبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين الحمد لله رب العالمين. We cannot thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough for blessing us to be in the company of the lovers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for blessing us to be in the company of the lovers of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And those who've been beautified and honored and elevated and given the most noble status, inshallah, in this life and the next, through adherence to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When we see our respected elders, when we see our respected brothers beautifying themselves with the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, our hearts can be filled with nothing but love for them. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst them. As my shaykh said, the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it's a protection, it's a camouflage. On the day of judgment, those who beautify themselves with the sunnah of sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they will blend in with the anbiya and salihin and siddiqeen and shuhada, they will be alright. وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا, the best of company. And therefore right now, the heart is filled with nothing but gratitude to be in the company of the lovers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. La ilaha illallah, what a gift. So before we begin our talk, let us take a moment within our hearts, that our hearts speak to Allah and say, Alhamdulillah, thank you Ya Allah, you've given us the best of gifts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me the opportunity to travel throughout the world, to meet with different world leaders, business leaders, you name it. And yet the peace that is found in masajid like this masjid, wallahi, I cannot find it anywhere else. Walhamdulillah, this is a treasure. You've been given the best of the dunya, and inshallah the best of the akhirah, through the suhbah of the salihin. La ilaha illallah, what a gift. And people are deprived of this gift, and because they're deprived of this gift, they're really ghafilun, ghafla, a state of heedlessness. What is this heedlessness? This heedlessness makes people forget who they are. Because they forget Allah, they forget their own selves. They forget where they came from. We didn't come from nothing. We didn't come by chance. We came because the creator of everything, the all-powerful, the almighty, the all-capable, the all-wise, the all-merciful, He willed for us to exist. He existed alone. He was a hidden treasure, filled with majesty and beauty and might and power. And He loved to be known. So He created us so that we can know Him, so that we can have a relationship with Him, so that we can bear witness to His greatness without even seeing Him in this dunya. This is why we all aspire to be shuhada, witnesses. What is a shaheed? What is a witness? We witness La ilaha illallah. We witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Kareem, Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim, Al-Majid, Al-Subuh, Al-Qudus subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this dunya is a short opportunity for us to witness the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that when we meet our Creator, it's a beautiful meeting because we lived our whole life aspiring to meet Him. This is why the Mashaykh have written that whoever connects his heart to the dunya should know that soon their heart will be separated from that which they love. But whoever connects their heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then soon their hearts will be reunited with the one whom they love. So this dunya is that rare opportunity for us to witness the greatness of Allah, witness His mightiness, His majesty, His beauty, before we see Him. And everything around us reminds us of His greatness. We heard the most beautiful recitation of the Quran from our youth and our Imam. Subhanallah, and yet the same one who wrote, who gave us the Quran, who inspired the Quran, whose words the Quran is, He's the one who created that beautiful sunset that we saw not long ago. He's the one who created the sunrise. He's the author of all beauty. He's the creator of all beauty that exists. And He created us to have a relationship with Him, and gave us the opportunity to come closer to Him than even the angels. Because He is hidden from us in this dunya. See, the angels, as we know, they worship Allah, but they're in alim al-ghayb. They see the greatness and the miracles firsthand. They don't have the shahwa, the desire, the temptation, the struggle. My brothers and sisters, all the things that we struggle with, all the things that we fight within ourselves against, all of the difficulties and the hardships that we face in life, those are the keys for us to be beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if we did not have temptation, lust, desire, greed, anger, and had to choose to overcome all of that, seeking the pleasure of Allah, then we could not offer sacrifice for Allah. See, the love of the angels, the worship of the angels, as we know and our respected mashayikh have taught us, compared to the worship of the human beings, is meaningless. Because when somebody has no choice but to love you, and is forced to love you, and doesn't even have any temptation not to love you, then their love is meaningless. It doesn't have any weight. But when a person struggles, and we're facing fitness, and we're facing hate crimes, and we're facing Islamophobia, and we're facing mockery, and we're facing challenges, and we choose to overcome all of that out of love for Allah, seeking the pleasure of Allah, then the ajr is there, then the relationship is there, then the noble status is there, and this is just a few years where we can witness Allah's greatness before meeting Him. And if you look in the Holy Quran, there is only one creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes Himself as loving. And it isn't even the angels. The only creature in the Holy Quran being described as being beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are the human beings who seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna Allah yuhib al-muttaqeen. Inna Allah yuhib al-muhsineen. Inna Allah yuhib al-muqsiteen. And when we recite the Holy Quran, how blessed we are, my brothers and sisters. So let's take a moment to make a sincere intention to renew our relationship with the Quran. Because as Muslims, we are the only people in the world. And I challenge anyone, we will live stream this, let anybody in the world come and challenge us on this. Alhamdulillah, we are blessed to be the only people in the world who have the unchanged words of the creator of everyone and everything. No one else has that. No one else can even claim to have that. We have the words of the most powerful, the most mighty, the most wise, who has a personal message in his words for each and every one of us, speaking to us directly. لَقَدْ أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ كِتَابًا فِيهِ ذِكْرُكُمْ. We've sent a book that has your mention, your reminder. When we read, verily Allah loves, we want to see our name there. How can we do that? By taking on the qualities that we find described right after that word. Al-Muttaqeen, those who are conscious of Allah. الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا. Those who reflect upon the creation of the heavens and the earth and remember Allah in each day standing, sitting on their sides. And they remember, Ya Allah, you didn't create all of this in vain. Inna Allah yuhibbu al-muhsinin, those who establish justice amongst humanity. And al-muhsinin, those who go above and beyond to do good. My brothers and sisters, as a community right now, we're suffering from a lack of ihsan with each other. A lack of ihsan within our households. A spouse serves their other spouse for years. A conflict happens, and either the husband or the wife nowadays, or the wife to the husband, goes both ways. I don't see good in you. An imam or somebody serves the community for years. Then one mistake or one accusation, and people throw the person out and forget all the khair that's happened. La ilaha illallah. We're forgetting how to have ihsan with each other. And if we can have ihsan, what is ihsan? It's not that you treat those who do you good with good, but it is to treat those who cut you off and disrespect you and humiliate you, but you still show them nothing but love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because my brothers and sisters, the bottle can only pour out what it contains. This bottle, no matter how hard I try, and no matter what I do to this bottle, I can kick it, I can curse it, I can do whatever I want to it. But at the end of the day, only water's coming out of this bottle because that's all this bottle contains. Likewise, the believer, the muhsin, the beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter what happens to him, no matter what challenges he or she face, no matter what difficulties they experience, no matter how people treat them, only goodness comes out of them. Because that's what's inside them, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the dhikr of Allah, seeking ihsan, seeking the love of Allah. So remember that when you face difficulties within your community, within your masajid, within your homes, within your lives, Say, Alhamdulillah, this is my chance to have Inna Allah yuhib and my name. This is my chance to be beloved to Allah by showing ihsan to those around me. Responding with that which is better. And smile, be happy. Alhamdulillah, this person disrespected me. I'm going to treat them with ihsan for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because that's going to give me that Inna Allah yuhib. Verily Allah loves. And that's what we aspire. Whoever has that has everything. And yet the people, unfortunately, are heedless of this. Heedless of where they came from. By the will of Allah, Allah gifted you your sight, your consciousness, your vision, your seeing, your hearing, your presence, your hearts, your minds, your ability simply to be and exist. Gifted you that for one reason only, so that you can bear witness to His greatness. Use your eyes to see the sunrise and sunset. And subhanallah, subhanallah, how beautiful these colors are, how beautiful the sunrise is and the sunset is. Surely its designer, who created it without inspiration from anyone or anything. Even the greatest artists that are inspired by others, but Allah is the originator of all inspiration. He is the source of all beauty. He's the source of all love. He's the source of all goodness. So when you see these things, they remind you of Allah. We came by the will of Allah. People are heedless of where they are. وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. He is with you wherever you are. فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ, I am close. وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. We're closer than their vein. Allah is with you. And when you remember that, then it's easier to have ihsan. See, unfortunately, many of us believe that Allah sees us, believe Allah is with us, believe that Allah hears us. There's no doubt about that. But we're not aware that He sees us. We're not aware that He hears us. We're not aware that He is with us. And there's a big difference between believing and being aware, being cognizant. If we tell you there's a secret hidden camera, you may believe it. But if you see the camera in your face, then you really are aware of it. And you change your behavior as a result. How do you build that awareness? How do you build that awareness that goes beyond belief, but haqq al-yaqeen, into reality, into that level of ihsan? In Allah yuhibbul muhsinin. Isn't that what ihsan is? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was describing what ihsan is to Jibreel alayhi salam. He said, that you worship Allah as though you see Him. You have that awareness, not just the iman. He asked, what is iman? To believe in Allah. But then when he was asked, what is ihsan? To worship Allah as though you see Him. To be aware, for even if you don't see Him, you know that He, subhanahu wa ta'ala, sees you. And that is done through صحبة الصالحين, the righteous company. And the dhikr, the constant remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that when we have so much dhikr in our life, that we constantly are in that state of awareness. Inna Allah ma'ak, Inna Allah yarani. Allah is with me, Allah sees me, Allah hears me. We have to learn that dhikr from the feet of our mashayikh, to build that level where when things get tough, we don't become like the followers of Musa alayhi salam. Too many of them, when things got tough, when they faced the worst Islamophobia, when Fir'aun was persecuting them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam for a tremendous mission. He said to him, وَاصْطَنَعْتُكَ لِنَفْسِي, I chose you for me. Allahu Akbar. What could be greater than being chosen for the one who created everything? May Allah choose all of us for Him. And may we fulfill that mission with sincerity and ihsan and ikhlas. So when He told them, I chose you for me, what's next? اذهب أنت وأخوك بآياتي ولا تنيا في ذكري. Go you and your brother with my signs, and don't slacken in remembering. This is preparation for the mission. Then the mission continues. اذهبا إلى فرعون إنه طغى. Go to the Pharaoh. Go to the oppressor. Go to the unjust. Go to the ruler of your community. Go to the king. Go to the president who's transgressing all the laws, who's causing corruption on earth, who's dividing parents from their children. Does this sound familiar? Do we not have rulers today who are ripping children from their parents, following the Pharaonic ideology? Ana rabbukum al-a'la, I am your greatest Lord. Now we hear this on TV. I am the greatest, I am the best. It's just me, nafsi, nafsi, nafsi. The people following the Pharaonic ideology, worship of the nafs, exalting the nafs, kibr, arrogance. Go challenge that. And as we know, that means it's our duty chosen by Allah? Okay, challenge the oppression within your societies. Challenge the injustice that you see. Help the poor, the oppressed. Help those whose children are taken away from them by force. We saw this in this country, the United States, thousands and thousands of children taken away from their parents. And you shouldn't be surprised, my brothers and sisters, within the lifetime of some of our elders or their parents, there were times when a black and white man could not sit at the same counter in the restaurant. Within the recent generations, there were times when you could not drink from the same fountain as the white man if you were black. And the children of these people are still here today. Do you think that just disappeared? Islam came to obliterate racism from society. And this is why as we look around this room, we find the most racially diverse community. And that's why Malcolm X said, if there is one community and one deen that can obliterate racism in America, it's the Muslim community. And it is Islam. Because you cannot honor the Creator if you don't honor His creation. As a believer, when we see each and every person, regardless of what his deen is, you see, هَذَا خَلْقُ اللَّهِ. This is the creation of Allah. This belongs to Allah. And because I love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm going to show honor and love and respect to this creation of Allah. When you go to a museum and there's some famous ruler or president, they have their toothbrush, they have their comb, and people honor it and respect it because it belonged to such a great person. Well, here everyone around you belongs to the Lord of the heavens and the earth. Don't we owe them honor and respect? You show the honor and respect to your fellow believers with the ihsan, with compassion, with rahmah, with forgiveness. You should forgive others. Don't you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you? Treat others not how they treat you, but how you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to treat you. And you treat those who do not have our deen with ihsan in a way to pull them into the deen through your ihsan and through your khidmah, that you want them to know Allah and love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So at that point, when Musa was chosen by Allah to challenge the oppression in his society, and Fir'aun gathered all the people to listen to Musa alayhi salam, and this is what happens. The Fir'auns of our time get all the people talking about Islam. Islam hates us on national television. I want to ban Muslims on national television. Alhamdulillah, everybody's talking about Islam and Muslims. What is this Islam that hates us, supposedly, and who are these Muslims? And that's our time. Alhamdulillah, so many people say, I became Muslim after I heard the president attacking a Muslim community. Allahu Akbar. وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ فَسَيُنْفِقُونَها ثُمَّ تَكُونُ عَلَيْهِمْ حَسْرَةٌ ثُمَّ يُغْلَبُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the enemies of the deen, they will spend their wealth to take people away from the deen, and they will spend it, and it will be a source of regret for them, and they will be overcome. Alhamdulillah. And we've been chosen, the qaleel, 1 out of 100 that know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and have that relationship. We have to value that. We have to value our deen. We have to appreciate our deen. And when we appreciate our deen, then we become willing to sacrifice for our deen instead of sacrificing our deen. Then we're willing to sacrifice for Allah instead of sacrificing our relationship with Allah. And that's the test of Muslims in America. Do we sacrifice for our deen or do we sacrifice our deen? Do we sacrifice for Islam or do we sacrifice Islam? And what a difference between the two. An eternal difference from the highest levels of Jannah to maybe somewhere else. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. They're driven by the love of Allah. They're more intense in their love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you have that love, that burning love in your heart for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the sacrifice for Allah becomes easy. Everything becomes easy. The lover never finds any difficulty in sacrificing for their beloved. If you're truly in love, there's no difficulty. And your heart becomes bursting just to express that love. When somebody is in love, they just want to say, I love you. When was the last time we felt that we loved Allah so much that our heart was bursting just to say, I love you, Ya Allah. I love you, Ya Allah. Maybe I haven't done the work that you are worthy, but know that my heart loves you. Alhamdulillah. And thank you for placing your love in my heart. Just like the masajid are the houses of Allah on earth, the Uloom, the hearts of the believers, they are also the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just as we keep our masajid clean, we should in fact keep our hearts clean so that the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can enter into it. This is the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your heart is for Allah. And when you have that love of Allah, then it's easy to sacrifice for the deen. It's easy to overcome Islamophobia. It's easy to challenge the oppressors and the unjust and the corrupt. It's easy to serve the creation of Allah and be in their service and have ihsan towards them and that becomes a means of guidance for them and for you. So when Fir'aun gathered the people and they heard the story of Musa alayhi salam, they believed in him, they followed him. And yet when they escaped and they reached the sea, and the army of Fir'aun is chasing behind them, and they reached the sea, the followers of Musa alayhi salam said, "Inna lamudrakun, we are doomed, we are destroyed, we are overcome." And now, unfortunately, too many Muslims, in the face of difficulties and challenges, say, "Inna lamudrakun, we're overcome," and the hijab comes off, the sunnah comes off, the salah is hidden, the name is changed, and we erase Islam publicly. Without realizing, if we erase Islam publicly today, our children really may not have Islam inwardly tomorrow. And subhanAllah, this is a statistic now. 24% of children born into Muslim households in the United States, as they grow up, consider themselves publicly, I'm not talking about secretly, but publicly consider themselves not Muslim. Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel. This is what happens when you try to erase Islam publicly, it gets disappeared privately. We have Islam today because the Sahaba sacrificed for our deen yesterday. And if we don't sacrifice today, our children may not have it tomorrow. And yet, subhanAllah, Allah promises, وَإِن تَتَوَلَّوْا يَسْتَبْدِلْ قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَكُونُوا أَمْثَالَكُمْ. If you turn away, if you don't appreciate this deen, if you don't sacrifice for this deen and you sacrifice your deen, then Allah will replace you with people يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ. He loves them and they love Him. And willing to sacrifice for this deen. And subhanAllah, we find that also the percent of converts into Islam in America is also 24%. So for everyone who doesn't appreciate this, even Allah is bringing people who will appreciate. He doesn't need us, but we need Him. Ya Allah, don't replace us. Make us worthy of your love and a means of guidance for Him. Too many Muslims today, when things get tough, they say, no, it doesn't work. I mentioned in previous talks in New York City, the first Muslims they spied on were the Muslims who changed their name from Muhammad to Muhammad. Who are you trying to hide? What are you trying to oppress? Allah gave us honor through the deen, and if we see honor through other than the deen, we will be doomed. May Allah keep us steadfast and help us appreciate what we have. We have to appreciate the deen. We appreciate the deen by practicing the deen. And we appreciate our freedom to practice the deen by defending that freedom in this country against all odds and challenges, knowing that Allah is with us. And that's how the story continues. When the followers of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam said, "Inna lamudrakun, we are destroyed," what was the response of Musa alayhi salam? Kalla, for sure we are not. That dhikr, that remembrance of Allah, that awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came in to save the day. And at that point, when everybody around him gave up hope, and when he saw the sea in front of him, and the army behind him, Musa alayhi salam remembered that the one who gave him the Torah also created this ocean, and this ocean, each and every particle in the ocean obeys the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is nothing for Allah. The owner, Madinatul, the king of kings, the king of all dominion. So at that point, without hesitation, without fear, he said, Kalla inna ma'a rabbi sayadin. For sure we are not doomed. Why? My Lord is with me, He will guide. And Allah opened the sea and they escaped, and Allah destroyed Fir'aun and kept him as an ayah. Now subhanAllah, in that moment he said, my Lord is with me, because he had that dhikr. Whereas when Rasulullah was escaping Mecca with Abu Bakr, they both had the love of Allah and the trust in Allah. And at that point, when they had reached the cave, and Rasulullah and Abu Bakr were hidden in that cave, and the mushrikeen made it there, Rasulullah told Abu Bakr, La tahzan, don't be sad. See, Abu Bakr wasn't scared. He didn't say, Inna lamudrakun, we're doomed, we're destroyed. He loved sacrificing for the deen. So if anything, he was willing, he was happy, he was excited. For me to sacrifice for Allah and His Messenger, fidaka ummi wa abi ya Rasulullah. May my parents be sacrificed for you, O Messenger of Allah. That was the intense love that they had. The connection with the Creator of the heaven and the earth, the Creator of love. So at that point, he wasn't worried about himself, but he was sad because he was worried about the Messenger. He loved the Messenger more than he loved his life, his own life. And at that point, Rasulullah said, La tahzan, don't be sad, Abu Bakr. Why? Inna Allah ma'ana. Verily, Allah is with us both. With Musa, Inna ma'i rabbi, my Lord is with me. With Rasulullah, it was, and Abu Bakr, it was Allah is with us both because they had that love. My brothers and sisters, we need to follow the way of Abu Bakr. be willing to sacrifice for the deen and find practical, concrete ways to offer sacrifice to challenge Islamophobia, to challenge the fear and hatred of our deen. We don't want to tell people what Islam is not, but we want to show them what it is through our service. And the best way to fight against Islamophobia and the challenges our community faces is by nourishing our souls through صحبة الصالحين and the dhikr of Allah, so that we have إِنَّ مَعِ رَبِّي سَيَهْدِينِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَنَا, and then while being beautified by the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, being in the service of humanity such that our efforts becomes a means of guidance for humanity, my brothers and sisters. And be grateful for this deen. Wallahi, Allah just blessed us that we prayed Salatul Isha. And in that Salatul Isha we did our sajda to Allah. Imagine that day when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals Himself. يَوْمَ يُكْشَفُ عَنْ سَاقٍ وَيَدْعَوْنَ إِلَى السُّجُودِ فَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ. On that day, Allah reveals just some. And everybody who witnesses that will want to go into sajda, and those who sincerely did the sajda in the dunya will fall and do sajda to their Creator with extreme bliss and happiness that they're finally able to do sajda while having that vision, except for the munafiqun. Their backs will be made straight, they cannot do the sajda. And that is the people who will be separated. We ask Allah for His protection. We have to love to have that ikhlas. And what is the difference between the munafiqun and the mukhlisun? What is the difference between the hypocrites and the sincere? The difference between the hypocrites and the sincere, my beloved brothers, is that the munafiqun la yadhkuruna Allah illa qalila. They don't remember Allah except a little bit. They remember Allah, but not much. When the mu'minun, they follow Allah's commands. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe. Now Allah's talking to me and you, inshallah. And He says, اذكروا الله ذكرا كثيرا. Remember Allah abundantly. So that abundant remembrance of Allah builds a class. Why? Think about it practically. That if you're always thinking about Allah, how powerful He is, how He created everything, how everything belongs to Him, naturally you're going to want to have this loss. You're not going to want to do anything for anyone other than Him because you see how great He is. But when you're only doing remembrance of Allah a little bit, you're not remembering Him, then you start to do things for other than Allah. Then you start fearing other than Allah more than Allah. Then you start loving other than Allah more than Allah, and then you lose the straight path. May Allah make us of the mukhlisun and the sincere. My brothers and sisters, yes, our life will come with challenges, and we see that happening every day within our community. But remember, at the end of the day, this life is nothing more than a test of who is grateful and who is patient. Everything that happens in your life, Allah's testing you if you fit one of the two qualities, or if you fit these two qualities. Are you grateful when things are good? And are you patient when things are tough? Are you grateful by using the gifts Allah has given you, your wealth, your safety, your security in America, to engage in da'wah, to support your masajid, to fight Islamophobia, to engage in Islamic education, to do the work of the deen? And when things are tough, when people are attacking the deen and there's hate crimes and there's Islamophobia, do you hold strong to your deen? Or do you hide it and run away from it? This whole life is a test of gratitude and sabr, patience. And what a beautiful reward for those who can remain steadfast and grateful in times of ease and in times of hardship. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave us the most beautiful news, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes us amongst such people. He said, أول من يدعى إلى الجنة يوم القيامة الذين يحمدون الله في السراء والضراء أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام, that the first people to enter Jannah on the day of judgment, everyone's gathered and they want to know their fate. The first people to be called, سيعلم أهل الجمع من أولى بالكرم اليوم. A caller will call out that everybody gathered today will know who the people of honor are today. You will all see who the true people of honor are. Who are they? أين الذين كانوا يحمدون الله في السراء والضراء. Where are those who used to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in times of ease and in times of hardship? فيقومون وهم قليل فيدخلون الجنة بغير حساب. So they get up and they're few and they will enter Jannah without judgment, and they are the first to enter Jannah. May Allah make us amongst them. So my brothers and sisters, in life, when Allah gives you wealth and success, say, Alhamdulillah, I'm going to be grateful, I'm going to use it for His deen so I can enter Jannah without judgment and be the first to enter Jannah. And in life, when things get tough for you, when your heart is broken, when you face such hardships and pain and difficulty and depression, also know that if you can be grateful to Allah in this situation, that it's enough of a reward that you will be of those who enter Jannah without judgment. What a beautiful blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what a beautiful reward. When we understand this, and we invest in our own spiritual nourishment, then, my brothers and sisters, we can have the ability to fulfill our role on this earth. A role driven by knowing three key things that most people are heedless of. Where we came from, by the will of Allah. Where are we? We are always with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where are we going? We are going to Allah. We all have that beautiful moment. Our life is nothing more than a dream. What is a dream? A dream is short and temporary. You don't know where you're going to wake up. And when you wake up, you're not taking anything you accumulated in your dream with you. And therefore, really, if you want to know the value of everything you have, the value of everything you possess is whatever you have, whatever wealth, $1,000, $1 million, whatever it is, times how long you are guaranteed to have it. How long are we guaranteed to have everything? 0. We're not guaranteed to have it for 1 minute in the dunya. So therefore, what's 1 million times 0? 0. Nothing. This dunya is worthless. It's worth the sacrifice for the deen. But when you wake up from this dream and you're reunited with Allah, يا أيها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. O tranquil nafs. Some months ago there was some youth, they were stuck deep inside a cave. And you know how they got them out of the cave? They had a rope from the opening of the cave to the inside of the cave. And what they had to do is they had to follow that rope out. And it was a dangerous journey. There were times they would have to go underwater, above water, complete dark. It was a very difficult. In fact, one of the rescuers died. Such a difficult journey. But the only way they could make it out is they held that rope. That rope guided them out. And at the same time, if they started fighting with each other, if they started arguing with each other, then they wouldn't have made it out. They would have drowned. Same way, my brothers and sisters, we're holding on to this rope. The destination is Allah. If we follow this rope, we will be guided out. If we're united with each other. If we let go of the rope, we will be lost. If we disconnect from the Quran, we will be lost. When I do my work with CAIR and go on CNN or the news or whatever, wallahi, the only thing besides the Sahaba, the Salihin, and the dhikr, and the ibadahs that keeps me around is refreshing my heart through the recitation of the Quran and reflecting what its meanings. It gives us life. Otherwise, be dead. Spiritually dead. And that's what Allah says. مثل الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم مثل الذي يذكر ربه والذي لا يذكر ربه مثل الحي والميت أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. The one who remembers his Lord and the one who doesn't is the example of the dead and the living. And really you feel the death when you become disconnected from the Quran. May Allah keep our hearts alive with His words. So to make it out of this journey, we got to hold on to the book of Allah. We got to hold on to each other. We have to uplift each other, build each other's deen, support each other, not tear each other down, not judge each other, not gossip and backbite each other. We make 1,000 excuses to talk bad about each other. But most of it is just because from shaitan. There's really no need to talk about people's faults, about people's mistakes, about people's shortcomings. And from the beauty of one's Islam, leave that which doesn't concern you. Focus on yourself, be busy judging yourself, and work to uplift each other and help each other so that we can stay, my brothers and sisters, on the straight path, and we can nourish our souls through the Quran and through the righteous company, and then we can fulfill our role. What is our role? My brothers and sisters, as Muslims in America, we are 1 out of 100 people. Out of every 100 people, 99 people don't know their Creator. 1 does. So as those who worship none other than the Creator of the heavens and the earth, and honor His messengers, Prophet Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon them all, who came to connect humanity with their Creator. How can we be successful? What is our role? And by the way, recognize what a gift it is. When I was landing in New York City, and subhanAllah, I saw what a big city New York was. And I saw how many people there was there. And I said, subhanAllah, in this airplane right now, I'm the only visible Muslim here. Alhamdulillah. What a gift. Ya Allah, I can't thank you enough for giving me my deen. I can't thank you enough for this gift. What if I had everything? What if all these buildings belong to me, but I don't have the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Nothing. Alhamdulillah. What a gift that is. Ya Allah, keep me on this path. And make me a means of guidance for others on this path. But don't take away me knowing you. This is why, and I mentioned the story of one of the subhanAllah victims of the conflict in Syria, who had escaped from Syria with nothing but the clothes on his back, and he had swam across the sea. And when he swam across the sea, he said to a reporter, "Ma dhal ma'isha, nothing remains with me. I lost everything. Everything we sell out our deen to get, we lost it." And it's only Allah's blessing that we're not in that situation. Trust me, there are people in this country who have positions in government who want us to be in that situation. They tried to make Islam illegal in Tennessee, 20 years in jail. In Orlando, we freed an imam who was facing 20 years in jail for teaching the Quran and reciting one surah al kafirin like we heard in our Salah. And alhamdulillah, CAIR is at the forefront fighting and winning and protecting our community. I don't want to go into details here. But there are people who want us in that situation. It's only Allah's rahmah. And then through the support of our defense and CAIR's work, they're able to defend against this. And this is why I urge all of you, be supporters of the efforts of CAIR. We cannot do it alone. Every Muslim should invest in defending the deen of Allah. The enemies of Islam are spending $200 million to attack Islam in America. If every Muslim spent $1 a day to defend our deen, we'd have $150 million a month, $1 billion a year to defend our deen. This is why Allah warns about the munafiqun that they don't do the little amount. Because if everybody did the little amount, there's no challenge we couldn't overcome together. So this brother, he said, nothing remains with me. 3 simple lines that changed my life. He said, I lost everything. And it's only Allah's blessing we're not in that situation, and it's only a blessing that we're not in that situation if we use what Allah gave us to come close to Him. But if we're using our wealth and our security to disobey Allah, to forget Allah, then no, it's better that we lose the dunya, but we have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He continued, only my religion remains with me. That's the only thing that stayed with me. Why? Then he answered it with one word, Juwa. It is inside me. My brothers and sisters, the most valuable thing that we have in this dunya, it is our deen. It fulfills the purpose of our existence. It connects us with the creator of the heavens and the earth. And it's the only thing that can never be taken away from us by force. Everything we love in this dunya can be taken away from us. Our wealth, our home, our family, even our lives. The only thing that can never be taken away from us is our deen, is our connection with Allah and His Messenger. We can only choose to give it up. So a humble reminder that no matter what difficulties we face in life, appreciate the deen. And when you appreciate it, you will never want to give it up. And you will never choose to give it up. And you respond to the attacks against the deen by more strongly holding on to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and being involved in the effort to defend it. And then when we have that strength, we can fulfill the role, whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Verily I am making a representative on the earth. And all of us, we are the Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth. What is the role of the Khalifa of Allah, the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Very simply, it is to do the work that Allah wishes to be done in each and every situation. So when people are hungry, the creation of Allah is hungry. What does the Khalifa of Allah do? He feeds them. Otherwise, he misses out on being with Allah. We know the well-known hadith that Allah on the Day of Judgment will tell somebody, I was hungry, you didn't feed me. Allah, how could you be hungry? He said, my servant was hungry. Had you fed me, you would have found me there. I was sick, you didn't visit me. How could you be sick? My servant was sick. If you visited him, you would have found me there. We can find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the service of the creation of Allah. This is why, going back to the beginning of our talk, Inna Allah yuhib, verily Allah loves. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum were really people of wisdom. And they, radiallahu anhum, they asked a profound question. The most important question, really, if there's one question and only one question you can have an answer to, it would be this one. They asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who is most beloved to Allah? And what deeds are most beloved to Allah? Why? Because they were seeking the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when they asked that question, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam answered, the most beloved of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is who? It is the most beneficial to His creation. Because they love to be in the service of everyone, because they recognize these are all the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So being constantly in the service, trying to serve Allah by sincerely serving His creation. You're serving your brothers and sisters in Islam, it will increase their faith. You're serving those who are not Muslim, it will inshallah be a means of their guidance while holding on to the Sunnah. That's how you challenge Islamophobia. Proudly holding on to your deen while being out there in the service of humanity. What deed is most beloved to Allah? That you enter happiness in the heart of your brother. You make them happy. Or you relieve them some difficulty. Or you pay off their debt. Always being in the service. And this is a mentality. We have to change our mentality of how we see each other. The Mashaykh have taught us that if you want to be a wali of Allah, a friend of Allah, it's very easy, simple. Treat every Muslim like a wali of Allah. Really, every Muslim you see, we show special respect to the ulama and the Mashaykh. We should show every Muslim respect and honor, that they may be a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you have that personal fun and that respect, then inshallah Allah will truly make you amongst His awliya. And you can do this properly through the guidance and the suhbah of the salihin and the mashayikh. When the Khalifa of Allah sees people facing oppression and injustice, the Khalifa of Allah stands strong against that injustice. My brothers and sisters, we are the most racially diverse community. America is suffering from racism. And racism is an offense to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before it's an offense to your fellow man. Because when racists, they choose to look down upon the creation of Allah based on how Allah chose to create them. And they seek arrogance from something they didn't do, from something Allah gave them. Allah gave us our race, we didn't give ourselves our race. And Allah gave our brothers and sisters in humanity their race and their language. These are signs of His beauty and His might. And if we want to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we cannot be racist, and we have to change it, to stand against racism. Racism is from Jahiliyyah. When one of the Sahaba said a word of racism, he criticized, I believe, Madinatul, insulted him that you're the son of a black woman. Rasulullah was very upset. He said, you are a man, that in your heart is Jahiliyyah, is ignorance. You're ignorant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you love Allah, you will honor all of His creation and how Allah chose to make them. And recognize, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, it's from His signs, the differences in your colors, in your languages, in your tongues. اختلاف ألسنتكم وألوانكم. These are from the signs of Allah, is the differences that you have in tongue and in skin tones. Wow, this is all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's something we embrace. إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. The best of you inside of Allah are the most fearful of Him. Rasulullah made very clear, white is not better than black, black is not better than white, Arab is not better than non-Arab, non-Arab is not better than white. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at your outward forms, nor does He look at your wealth. And these are the things that make people arrogant and racist. This is the problem that's happening right now. They don't want immigrants because they're a different color and a different language, and they're afraid that they will take their wealth. They forget, Inna Allah al-Razzaq, Allah is the provider. And Inna Allah al-Khallaq, Allah is the creator. So how, if you believe Allah is al-Khallaq, the creator, you believe Allah is al-Razzaq, the provider, how can you hate immigrants? How can you engage in racism? SubhanAllah, these are people, they claim to be people of God, yet they're the furthest from it. May Allah protect us from such an attack. And help us change ourselves internally so we can change the world externally. This is a big mission. We have to embrace. First, we appreciate our deen. So then we're willing to sacrifice for our deen, driven by the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then we fulfill our role as the Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, standing strong for justice. My brothers and sisters, the Muslim community in America, by the way, can have tremendous impact if we stay strong to our deen. A lot of people will embrace the deen through our sincere service. They're ignorant. We have to show them what our deen is about. And we can have a big impact, even politically. For example, in the most recent election, you had a man who was supporting the Muslim ban and a man who was against it, both running for governor and senate. And in those races, those who were more on the anti-Muslim side of things, they won the race by about 30,000 votes out of 8 million. You know what percent that is? That is about 0.2%, 0.3%. What percentage are Muslims in the state of Florida? 2%. There's about 300,000-400,000 of us. So if half of us voted, we could have swayed the election in another direction. So I will emphasize, with the permission of our mashayikh and ulama, that yes, and this is something we've consulted our ulama about, when there's elections and there's one who is more evil for the earth, more evil for the community, more of a wrongdoer, then okay, vote and support the one who is less problematic for us, who will give us the freedom with the permission of Allah to practice our deen so that we can work to change society for the better. But if every Muslim voted, we could sway the election. And in the next election coming up, 2020, most likely, the person who wins the race for president in the state of Florida will become the next president, because Florida has a lot of electoral college votes. And most likely, the person who wins the race for the White House in Florida, he will probably win by 30,000 votes, 40,000, 20,000, not much. The biggest elections in Florida are won by less than 1% of the population. And we're 2%. So we can really sway the election one way or another. So I really encourage us, build your deen, build the taqwa, have the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then be involved in society. And also make your voice heard in the elections. Very important. We can have a tremendous impact. Finally, and our time is up, I will end with some advice and a beautiful nasiha from the Holy Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, our key for success. He says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اصْبِرُوا وَصَابِرُوا وَرَابِطُوا وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. If you want to be successful, you must do these 4 things. Number 1, اصْبِرُوا, be patient. It's worth it. إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. Those who are patient get their reward without measure. So, when things get tough for Muslims in this country, if you're hiding your deen, if you're saying inna lamudrakun, if you're ashamed to pray in public, you're not having sabr. Have sabr. And it's okay, somebody messes with you, alhamdulillah, now thanks to your support, CAIR has 8 attorneys who are ready to sue on your behalf. We just got a $100,000 grant to open up a new office in Southwest Florida. From non-Muslims who are supporting our effort to defend immigrants and defend justice and civil rights. Alhamdulillah, some of these non-Muslims are doing some of what we are doing. Alhamdulillah. So be patient, and you have no excuse. We have a lot of freedom to practice the deen, and this country protects our freedom. I went to the gun range today and yesterday. Yesterday I went to the gun range called the Alamo in Bonita Springs, and I went dressed just like this, with my galabiyah and my taqiyah and everything. And I said, how you doing? My name's Hassan Shibly. And I went and I hit the target. I said, look, I got the target. Did you get the target? Alhamdulillah. Nothing wrong with that, brothers and sisters. Don't be afraid if you're none but Allah. Be driven by the love of Allah. And through that we can change hearts and minds and becomes a means of guidance for humanity. Sbiru wa sabiru. Sabiru is compete in patience. Do not let their effort against the deen be greater than your effort for the deen. Do not let their hatred for our deen be greater than our love for the deen. If they're spending their millions to attack the deen, we should be spending it through CAIR, through other institutions, our wealth to defend the deen of Allah and defend the people who are oppressed for the deen. Well, that's what CAIR is about. So please be a supporter of our effort. And whatever other important efforts there are, sabiru, compete in patience. Warabitu, defend your community. Don't take your freedom for granted. As Muslims in America, we came to America here because this country, alhamdulillah, gives us freedom to practice our religion. More than many even Muslim-majority countries. And it's really easy to be Muslim in America. Being Muslim in America should make us practice more, not less. If you can't practice here, you can't practice anywhere. The fitna here is everywhere, but the freedom is found in very few other places. So appreciate it. We should be grateful and we should be invested. That's why I became a lawyer, using the Constitution to defend our freedom to practice the deen and defend others that are oppressed. Allah will uphold a disbelieving nation that is just, and we will stand strong for justice. And Allah loves those who establish justice amongst humanity. We're all to defend your community. Part of that is knowing what's happening, right? Since I started my work and from before, the FBI is always targeting the Muslim community wrongfully. Never speak to the FBI without a lawyer. And I could lecture a whole other hour on this point, but I just want to use this as a reminder. Defend your community. If the FBI wants to mess with you, you're a respectable person. Say, I don't have anything to hide, but I don't have time to speak with you. My lawyer's going to contact you. That's it. And then you call CAIR, we will take care of them. I literally do it in my sleep. A brother calls me, he's sweating, he's nervous, he's scared. Brother, the FBI showed up at my house. Brother, the FBI showed up at my office. I'm so scared. What do I do? I said, brother, calm down. Tawakkal Allah. Abshir. La tahzan. Inna Allah ma'ana. Literally. La tahinu wa la tahzanu wa antum al-a'lawn. Listen, I didn't say this. Okay? Our mashayikh didn't say this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this. La tahinu wa la tahzanu wa antum al-a'lawn in kuntum mu'minin. Do not grieve. Do not be sad. Do not despair. Surely you will be on top if you are believers. So have the yaqeen. And then I call the FBI agent, I say, Jim, why are you making me all these new clients, man? Lay off them. Literally, stop. You got questions, go through me. And he said, well, I want to talk to them. I'm going to go talk to them. I said, listen, they're going to tell you they're not talking to you except with me. Okay. خلاص. ما في مشكلة. No problem. Alhamdulillah. Easy. Very easy. Not a problem. But when you speak to them, that's when you make a big fitna. I mean, subhanAllah, Flynn, who's Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Flynn was one of Trump's inner circle, and he was one of the most anti-Muslim people in the administration. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humiliated him. And now he's facing jail time. And what's going to send him to jail is he spoke in the White House to the FBI without a lawyer, and he made some mistakes in speaking to them, so they charged him with lying to the FBI. And he was head of intelligence agencies. So if Flynn couldn't speak to the FBI safely, how do you expect me and you to do it? Don't speak to them without a lawyer. Just make that ahad, that bay'ah not to do that, please. Very important. Because when you don't do that, then you can, when you stay away from that, you can do your deen safely. If we know of somebody who's going to harm the country, who's going to do some crime, we'll be the first to report, but that's not a problem. But We will never speak to the FBI without a lawyer. When they want to speak to you, I want to speak to you without my lawyer. Take a CAIR card, take our business cards, keep them on you, contact the office, we will take care of you with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then every Muslim who donated in support of CAIR will get the reward of relieving the worry of their brother and entering happiness in their hearts. And you'll be beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, this is why I love my job. You see a Muslim crying from fear and then crying tears of happiness. And I say, Alhamdulillah, Allah, you use me for this, Ya Allah, accept. And accept all of our donors and supporters. But Alhamdulillah, what greater gift there is. To defend your community. And don't answer personal religious questions at the border. As a U.S. citizen or even resident, they have to let you in the country. They can't hold you at the border. So if they stop you at the border, they want to ask you religious questions, I don't want to answer. I'm a U.S. citizen, I'm a green card, here's my ID. Don't answer them. They want your cell phone, give them your cell phone, but don't unlock it. And don't give them the password no matter what they say. They can't force you to unlock it. They may say, we're going to take it, but it's okay, let them take a locked cell phone, better than them taking it when it's unlocked. And they cannot forcefully open it. And then contact CAIR. Right now we're suing the government because they're picking on Muslims at the border. You face discrimination at the workplace, not able to pray, not able to come for Jummah, contact CAIR, will help you, all free of charge. Alhamdulillah, reward the people of CAIR who are supporting them. And most importantly, wattaqullah, do it with the taqwa. And to have that taqwa, be in the suhbatul salihin and the ulama. And keep that dhikr in the remembrance of Allah. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, that we may be successful. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst the successful. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the moment we meet Him the most beautiful moment of our existence, and it only get better from there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us steadfast in the class, and let our ihsan and beautifying ourselves with the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and proudly serving humanity be a means of guidance for humanity. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.